I was trying to troubleshoot it. Like, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. And then I think I just realized, like, oh my God.
He hasn't interrupted a podcast episode in, like, several episodes. So it was time.
Are you comfortable? Is this working for you? He's like, yep.
Yep. Hello, and welcome to Knitting My Shit Together, a podcast about mental health and mental illness and life and yarn and fiber-related goodness. I'm Annika, and I use they, them pronouns. You can find me online on Instagram at T-Fueled Living and on Ravelry at Threadcatcher.
Where are you, Annika?
Oh, I'm in Moses Lake, Washington. Yeah. I'm in my bedroom.
Hi, I'm Farrah. I use she, her pronouns. I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in my studio space in my house. And you can find me on Instagram at TomboyFemBags and on Ravelry at Farrah Knits. And you can find us both on Instagram at Knitting My Shit Together. And we have a group on Ravelry, which, even though we've been saying this whole time that the link is in our link tree, because of a wonderful viewer last week, we discovered that that was just a complete fail, and it wasn't in our link tree, but it is now.
It is now, so we're sorry to everyone that tried to access it through our link tree and couldn't. But that has been fixed.
Yes. Thank you to the person who brought it to our attention. We really appreciate that. Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. That was right. A collective ADHD fail, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another collective ADHD fail was that I was waiting to start recording this episode by waiting for our intro music to start. And that gets edited in later. Doesn't actually happen as we're recording, but I've been working on show notes, which means that I watched the episode, so my brain's just like, we're just gonna wait for the music, and then it just never came, so that's okay. First things first, we have to say hi to our biggest and best and most favorite fan. So hi, Arissa.
Hi, Arissa, we love you.
We love you so much. Yes. Okay, so other announcements. We are extending our Cover Your Ass Knit Along giveaway an extra week because the podcast got uploaded last week.
Which was my
week. And so because of that, we want to give everyone ample time to post on Instagram. And if you want a chance to win the gorgeous skein of Knitting My Shit Together colored yarn by Tea Time Fiber Arts, post on Instagram using the hashtag CoverYourAssKAL, and we will be pulling or drawing a winner from there.
And I picked up my phone because I was gonna hold up my phone and be like, see it? This was my fail. But, like, I edit this podcast, so I can just pop it.
Just put it in.
And up on the screen, and you can all see it. But it's lovely. It was inspired by our logo, like Annika said, by Tea Time Fiber Arts, who is Sarah. And Sarah did a fabulous, beautiful job. Annika and I are both getting a sweater's worth. Yeah. Yes. Now, what I wanted to do, I had this idea last night because we're both going to knit seamless raglan pullovers, like an EPS, Elizabeth Zimmerman's percentage system pattern. And so I had the idea last night that, because Annika and I said, oh, when we go to stuff in the future together, we can both wear them and like represent knitting my shit together. And then I said, oh my God, do you remember Laverne and Shirley? I was like, remember how they had the L and S embroidered on their sweaters? We should do that. And Annika stared blankly at me. So I'm thinking that's a no-go.
I think it's a great idea. I just had very strict guidelines about what I was allowed to watch TV-wise growing up, and Laverne and Shirley was just not one of those things. So the staring blankly was because I'm like, I know these names, but this reference means nothing to me. Yeah. I love the idea, and I think that monogramming our sweaters sounds fancy, and I'm kind of here for it. So let's do it.
What I could do even too is I could hand embroider us patches that we could attach when we're at stuff, and then detach if we don't want to rock around with like an initialed sweater.
I mean, I think initialed sweaters are fancy, and I like to pretend I'm a fancy person, so okay. I'm okay with walking around with my initial with an initial on my sweater. Let's see. Speaking of the yarn that Sarah is dyeing for us over at Tea Time Fiber Arts, she will also be opening up pre-orders. So you can get your own skeins if you do not win the giveaway. You could also make matching sweaters with Farrah and I if you were so inclined, which actually I think would be really, really
I think it would be awesome if we all showed up to something.
to just this giant
You know what else we could do?
People.
We could knit a sweater out of that yarn. And you know how we call ourselves and all our listeners the Posse of Weirdos? Knit a sweater and then duplicate stitch weirdo up here.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be. Okay. Sorry, I'm just having all kinds of like Farrah brain moments here. And I did take my Adderall.
The only issue that I have with our group being called Posse of Weirdos is that the acronym is POW, and like that means something completely else to the rest of the world. And so that's a little bit disappointing.
Well, that's why we just have to put weirdo on stuff, not POW.
Yeah, we'll just have to put weirdo on stuff instead of POW, which I think might be a safer bet. So, yes. So keep your eye out. We will let everyone know when Tea Time Fiber Arts releases the pre-orders. Also on the topic of pre-orders, we have our patch pre-orders going. Right now we have 2 patches available for pre-order. We have our subscriber patch, which if you follow us on Instagram or here on YouTube or have never even heard of our podcast before, but really just like the way that the patch looks, like you're welcome to get it. And it's for you. And then the other one is specifically for our Cover Your Ass knit along. You don't have to complete the knit along by the time that the patch gets to you or anything like that. It's just if you participated, this is the patch for you. And both of those are available for $8 each, including shipping. And they are on the on Farrah's Tomboy Femme bag site underneath Knitting My Shit Together
swag.
Yeah,
and the pre-order runs now through January, and then we will be ordering the patches in January. And then things like, this will be the only time to get the Cover Your Ass Cal patches is between now and January, but the subscriber patches, we will do orders as people like them quarterly. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, too, for our lovely patrons, thank you to everyone who voted for the song that Farrah voluntold me I'm singing. And Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears was like the winner by a landslide, which I was a little surprised about and not at the same time with the amount of times that we have all sung it together at this point. So I will hopefully be recording that this coming week, and uploading it onto our Patreon. Our Patreon link is in our link tree and also down below in the description box. There's a bunch of different levels with a bunch of different perks, but even at the $1 level, you get access to a whole bunch of extra content. So,
and we haven't had much extra blooper content the past 2 episodes, so I haven't put it up. But I'm planning on doing today's and the previous 2 episodes, combining it into one thing and putting it up on our Patreon. Also, I'm going to also put another thing on Patreon. Anybody who is at the $2 a month level or higher who can contribute, I'm gonna just put up a blank questionnaire for people to give us ideas of what kind of content they would like to see for Vlogmas.
Yeah, which starts in 2 weeks.
Oh my god. How is that a thing, Annika?
This month is just flying by, so
yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, I think that's it for announcements. Let's move on to FOs. Do you have any FOs?
I have one FO, and it is a spinning FO.
Great.
So I've been doing quite a bit of spinning this week, which is interesting. I'm in the middle of doing stuff for Tomboy Femme Bags. I have an event coming up, Bag Vent, which will happen on Cyber Monday. And so I have to finish 24 bags by then, including getting them uploaded and all the things. So for my downtime, I've definitely done some knitting, but I've also done spinning. I'm going to move you back that way there. Okay. So this I finished. This was some top that I got from our friend Sultan, spun no, wait. The white is some top that I got from Sultan, spun Noma Didico, which I still have left. But these blues and purple was some fiber I got from one of my neighbors who lent me a drop spindle book when I first was going to take a drop spindle class and get one. And this is kind of my first finished hand spun product that's like a whole thing of fiber. And I have about 133 grams. I weighed it this morning. I'm not even going to try and classify a weight on this because it is various weights. I mean, there's definitely some fingering in here. There's definitely some worsted. There's definitely some sport. But I want to use it. So I don't believe she watches the podcast. So I'm planning on... I'm going to move the mouse there. I'm planning on knitting up, I'm just going to kind of make up, I found some free patterns that I'm going to merge together and make a bandana cowl for her out of some of this, and then bring it to her as a gift and return her book as a thank you gift. So this is my FO, and
it's gorgeous.
I love it. It's so fun to make yarn. And then it'll be really fun to knit with yarn and be I made this yarn. So this is my only finished object.
It's so pretty.
How about you?
I have no FOs.
Okay.
Right? I can't think of anything that I finished this week.
You finished your ripple bralette last week.
Yeah, and I finished your teapot cozy last week.
Which fits, by the way. So everybody knows. The prototype fits.
My math actually worked. I'm really happy.
Yeah, the math totally worked.
Yeah. I don't think I actually finished any projects this week. I mean, well, actually, no, I take that back. I finished a couple squares for my mom. I'm going to show those because I did finish those.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if everyone remembers, all the way back in July when I went down to Texas to visit my parents, my mom decided that she wanted to put a bunch of crocheted and knit squares on her wall.
I think that's going to be cool, by the way.
What?
I think that's going to be cool. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's really neat, and I'm excited that my mom is, actually interested in like my art finally.
Yeah.
So that's cool too. Because I'm currently the only kid that doesn't have artwork I made on her walls, because like both of my sisters did, and my cousin has artwork that they all made on my parents' walls, which is really cool. But I'm just excited to finally be able to join them. So, yeah. So my mom wanted a whole bunch of 12 by 12 and 8 by 8 squares of like different stitches, and I made quite a few when I was down there in Texas in July, but because of the way that they hung in the frames, they the yarns that I had originally picked in her colors were too dark, and like you couldn't see any of the stitches. So I was told to come home and use my brighter color yarns, which we all know I have, and
we do.
remake said squares. And so I'm trying to finish them so I can mail them down with everyone's Christmas presents, because they make really good like buffer wrapping. Like instead of using bubble wrap, I can use the squares I made. So the two that I completed this week, I made. Let's see if I can get it to focus.
Popcorn, right?
I made a popcorn stitch crochet square, and this is a 12 by 12 square. And then
very cute.
The other one that I finished this week,
I love that one,
was a butterfly square. And I'll put the link for this in the show notes, because I don't remember what it's called, but it's a 12-inch like butterfly crochet
to
one.
Me,
so
yeah,
both of them are done using Red Heart Super Saver, and yeah.
To me, the butterfly one, it's not just about the stitch, it's how you used color in that one that I think really adds to it.
The yarn did it itself.
I know, but I mean, like, you still made decisions.
That's true. But yeah. Yeah, so I think that's it for FOs. Let's move on to whips. What whips do you have?
Oh, so many. Okay. So first I'll do knitting whips, and then I'll do spinning whips that I'm actively working on. I'm not going to talk about my swan show because I didn't really work on that this week at all. My ripple bralette, I'm so close to being done with. So I'm to the part where I have like another 1/4 inch maybe to go, and I will bind off the back. And then I just have to knit the 2 front cups and the I-cord, which should not take that long at all. Like, I think I'll be able to finish this within the next day or two. And I'm really loving it. And I'm excited to have a ripple bralette. I'm using this. I'm knitting this. So the pattern is by Jessie Made Designs. And the yarn is Serendipitous Wool, the Atma base, in the wrought iron colorway, and I love it, and it's gorgeous and smells good, and I love it. So that's what I'm doing. That's the ripple bralette. So I made good progress on this this last week, so yay me. Then let's see what else. I haven't worked on my sweater because my seamless pullover, because the needles for that are on the ripple bralette. But I don't think, had I gotten to my second leg by last week? I think I had.
I think you had just started the second leg.
Yeah. So this is where I'm at on the second leg now. I have started the increases for the calf, and that has been a really fun knit as well. Let's see, other things. So making progress in my nether garments. Then I finished one of my socks, my vanilla sock from Valkyrie Fibers is the yarn, the Rocky Horror Picture Show October colorway, which was a surprise colorway. And this is the mini that came with it that I decided to go for and use, even though it's like kind of neon green.
I love it.
Yeah, I like it too. So I have one of these done. And then I decided before just starting the other one, well, first off, I ordered more Luca size 1 needles that are coming probably tomorrow and the next day, so I can have all the things on the needles.
And you have ones that I'm sending you too.
Yeah, I have 2 pair coming basically. But I decided before doing that one to cast on a sock for my partner Matthew. So I cast on a vanilla sock for him. And I am this far on that. This is knit using Holst Garn Highland. Their Highland sock that is marled. The marled white and gray. And I love it's so pretty how it's knitting up. And I'm just gonna, I have to figure out his sock recipe for him. He has like a size 13 foot. And so, you know, my vanilla sock recipe uses 60 stitches. So I started with, I'm doing 72 on his. And then, yeah, just gonna knit away. So yeah, it's coming out good. It's a good brainless knit, as all vanilla socks are, which is why I love them. So in spinning world news, here are my whips. I have 2 to show, 2 main ones. So first off, I got a new drop spindle, and here it is. And it's a really fun Top Whirl drop spindle by Erin Makes Stuff. And this is the single I have on it right now. This is a bat that Sultan, Spun Nomadidico, dyed for me that I'm spinning up. I only have like this much left to spin of it, which is not a ton. And then I have these singles that need to be plied. I'll have more singles that need to be plied. And then this is what it looks like. And I'm plying it with itself. And it's so pretty.
So pretty.
And then I got some Jacob top that's natural colored, like brownish gray, that I'm going to spin on my wheel. And there's a shawl pattern I found, a free pattern that I can't remember the name offhand. I'll put it in the thing. That looks I think will look beautiful with hand spun. So I'm going to use this and the Jacob top natural to knit that for myself. And then the other spinning whip. So, you know, I learned how to spin on my drop spindle and I love it. And then I got a wheel that Sultan gave to me. And I've been struggling on my wheel, like, to get the feel for it and get going. And then I had a complete freaking breakthrough last night. And I realized what's been happening. I'm glad I didn't give up and kept trying. But what kept happening is I would spin some and it would go on the bobbin and break. And I was like, what is happening? What keeps happening? And then when I would try and pull it back to reattach, it would break. And so then I had to and you know, I'm just figuring this out by myself as I go. And when I would pull it off, I would be like, yeah, this isn't really like yarn. It's more like a clump of fiber. And so Sultan and Annika both have way more spinning experience than I do. And so I just said to them, hey, you guys, this is what's happening. This is what I think the problem is. Am I right? And they were like, yes, which is I wasn't getting enough twist on my fiber. So I had to change the ratio to get more twist, which if you're a spinner, you know. If you don't, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's okay. I barely know what I'm talking about. But I spun this last night.
So pretty.
Yeah. And this is a braid I got at Stitches Midwest from Blue Moon Fiber Arts. I have like at least this much on another bobbin that I am going to ply with this. Maybe tonight even. Maybe after the podcast I'll ply the two. Maybe I'll put a little bit more on the other bobbin and a little bit more on this bobbin and fill them more and ply. But okay, so this is a question I have, Annika. Like when I ply onto one more bobbin, it's going to be bigger because it's going to be double this volume. So when you're deciding how much to fill a bobbin, do you have to factor in what it's going to be after you ply and then maybe not fill a bobbin? Like I could just leave it like this and ply it, or what?
I mean, I don't
You just
personally
fill a
like.
bobbin?
I just go for it, and if I have to break the yarn and start a new bobbin while plying, then I have to break the yarn and start a new bobbin while plying.
Okay. I think too, I only have 3 bobbins. I think it might behoove me to get a couple more.
Mm. The other thing, too, that I do have to say is that I normally spin, like, sock weight.
Annika froze. They'll come back in a second. Okay.
There we go.
You froze. So you normally spin.
I could hear you, but your face was frozen on my end. Like, weird. So I was hearing you say, oh, look, Annika froze. And I'm like, I can hear you. Just not moving.
Yeah, you weren't moving on my end either, so.
Weird.
Yeah.
So I normally spin, like, sock and lace weight, and, like, even after applying. And so, I don't know, like, personally, like, I normally don't fill up a bobbin.
Well, this is, like, I mean, some stuff in the beginning is obviously heavier weight, but like towards the end here, it's pretty consistently, I would guess, sock weight, not lace, but sock. So I'm thinking I'm going to get like a DK when I apply that, you know? And again, in these beginning projects, in these beginning spins, I'm just doing projects that don't need a certain gauge, obviously, until it gets more consistent, which is just going to be practice and time, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try plying these just so I can see what they look like plied up, because there's that factor too, which I'm like, what will these look like? Yeah.
Definitely get that, yeah.
But the spinning is fun too, so I don't know. And last night we had stitch group, and after like 4 hours, I hit my people threshold. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to log off, and Annika took over for a bit, and it was so lovely. I just sat in quiet in my studio and spun for like, I don't know how long, all of that. And I just sat in the quiet spinning, and it was lovely. And I think you're right, Annika. It is really soothing to me because of the using my hands and feet. It feels very meditative to me, and yeah.
Yeah. In case people don't know, they've done studies that found that if you do activities that use your feet and your hands at the same time, it helps calm your central nervous system down, which is like really helpful when you're using or when you have out of control children in your classroom. But which is why I know about this. Thanks, school. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's all my whips.
Sweet.
How about you?
All right. I have lots of whips. So one of the whips I'm working on is, surprise, surprise, another, here we go, another square for my mom. This is, I'm crocheting a alpine stitch square, and it's really hard to see. In person, this yarn is not like construction orange. It's actually like a really nice like light carrot color. So I don't know why it's
the backlighting maybe doing that.
Oop, I don't know. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. You can actually kind of see the stitch definition. But yeah, it's actually like if I hold it back here, like no, I don't know. The lights in my bedroom are just gonna be what they're gonna be. So yeah, I'm crocheting a 12-inch alpine stitch square. There's no pattern for it. I just looked up how to do the alpine stitch because I liked the way it looked, and then did math. So sorry. Other whips that I have. I finished. Here we go. I finished sock number 1 of yarn. No thanks. I finished sock number 1 of my Monostel Uruguay Alegria socks, aka my 1990s Lisa Frank socks.
Love it.
And really, I want to knit the second sock, but I have to cast on the toe, and I just haven't had the emotional bandwidth to do it. Just because like school stuff just got like really intense really quickly. So yeah, but my plan is to cast on the second sock probably tomorrow or Tuesday. Tuesday I have testing for like several hours that I have to do so I can graduate, and I have like a 2-hour break in between test 1 and test 2, so I'll probably do it then. Another whip that I have is I'm working on the Trelawney shawl by Cleverest Stitch, who is also, I think, tying Swedish designs on Ravelry. And the yarn that I'm using is Forest Fiber Arts. The purpley beautifulness is a one of a kind, and then the speckly white one down here is called the Bee's Knees, and this is on her 4-ply sock, which is just like absolutely lovely to work with. So I'm really enjoying this, and I picked this back up again this week.
I don't know about you, but I like the twist in that yarn, that base. Like it isn't splitty, which I like.
Like it's not like silky soft at the moment while working with it. Like it's not toothy like a Highland wool or anything like that, but it's not like super soft like some merinos are, but like the twist is really nice. It's like soft enough and has like a really good texture that like I'm really enjoying working with it. And you
can totally wear it against your skin, I feel.
Oh, you could totally wear it against your skin, and I'm sure it'll soften up even more so after it gets blocked. But like, yeah, like you could totally wear this against your skin. Like it's soft, and I'm really enjoying it. But it's not silky feeling, if just so people know. Yeah. All right. Since both of the kids just walked away, I'm going to quick show this whip because it's a Christmas gift. Yay. So they were cleaning their room and their timer went off, so they're now out of there. I'm working on the Ellen cardigan for Linnea's Christmas gift. I got the back finished, and I got front panel number 1 done last night during Stitch Group. And I'm using Karen Big Cakes in Cherry Cake. And yeah, I think that's... Oh, wait, no, I have one more whip. I lied. Whoa. All right. And then, yeah. So that's going along really quickly, which is good because after hers is done, I have 2 more sweaters to knit before Christmas. So that's cool. The last whip that I have is I am knitting Elizabeth Zimmerman's Hurry Up Last Minute sweater, and I'm doing the wishbone variation. I finished the body, and I separated for the sleeves. And so, there we go. And the yarn that I'm using is Karen Chunky Cakes, and I think this is grape jelly. Let's see. Oh, nope. Elderberry jelly. Sorry. This is elderberry jelly. And it's beautiful purple stripes, kind of tweedy looking, super speckly, really soft. Like, for being 100% acrylic yarn, it's really soft.
Is that for you?
What?
Is that for you?
Mm-hmm. This is going to be for me. Yeah. So, I wanted something warm. Raglan's, it's a raglan style sweater, and I wanted just something warm because the our school district that I am student teaching in and also doing observations in, depending on which building you get sent to, will be colder than my body can handle because my circulation sucks. So since I get cold really easily, I like to have really warm Raglan's. And so I'm like, this will knit up really quickly, especially since it's been in like the teens and low 20s when I've been walking the kids to school in the morning. So I'm like, really warm sweater time. So, yeah. And in case anyone thought that I was exaggerating about like how bad my circulation is, I was taking a hot shower with the heat as high up as it could go this morning, and my fingers were still purple. So,
wow.
And like ice cold, which is really fun when you shower with other people because they don't expect that generally. Because when you're taking like a super, super hot shower, people expect like your body to be warm. And when it's just not, they don't expect that. And then they let out like this giant shriek, and it's really amusing. And small pleasures in life, you know. So, yeah, that's it for my whips. So, yeah. Okay. Ready to move on to the mental health moment?
Yeah.
All right.
Mental health moment. I like how we've developed that little thing.
I know. I dance, you sing. It works out great.
So Annika asked me to talk about this week's mental health moment, and this week's mental health moment is about having to understand all the things, and it was inspired by my life. This week's mental health moment brought to you by my life.
Every time we like say this week's mental health moment brought to you by, I like always think of like the Sesame Street thing. This week's episode is brought to you by the letter Z and the number 6. Like
we should. So this week's mental health moment is brought to you by the letter N for navel gazing. So I used to be out and about a lot more than I am now. I wouldn't say, I don't think I'm a shut-in. I mean, I go out. But crowded spaces do make me anxious. And I can get more, and I have a lot more skills now to manage all of that stuff. But yeah, you'll see the point in this as I'm talking about it, I think. So this week, my partner Matthew, he wanted to go out on a date, and he said it'll be a surprise, and I was like, cool, which I'm totally down for. Like, surprises don't unnerve me at all. So we caught the bus and train to a local restaurant. We went and checked out a new Mexican restaurant. Their flan was excellent. The mole was average. It was a little sweeter than I like my mole. Like, I like my mole to have cocoa, but to be more savory and spicy. And this was more sweet, which I wasn't the hugest fan, but it was okay. Next time, I would definitely eat there again. I just won't get the mole. So, anyway, I digress. We went and we ate there. And when we were transiting there, okay, so I'm proud of myself for recognizing in my body when we were in transiting there that I was feeling a little anxious, because that's just mindfulness of emotions. And I was like, I commented to him, I said, I feel a little anxious. I don't know why. I said, but I just feel it in my belly. And he was like, huh. And so, you know, even at that point, my anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10 was probably like a 1 or 2. So I started using some skills. And then we went to the restaurant, and the restaurant was small, like one room, and every table was taken. So we got a booth, which was nice, and it was in a corner, which was nice. But, like, I think there was this guy at the table next to us, so he was to my right. So we were in the corner facing this way, and he was facing this way, and his date or whoever they were had their backs to me. And he was talking so loud. Like, I was like, dude, I don't want to hear all your stories. Like, it was just... a
You didn't
lot.
want to be on a date with the person at the table next to you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was a lot. And then, so that was distracting, but I was able to, have a good time and be present. And then Matthew planned it for where we were going next was like a 20-minute walk from there, which I like. I like walks. I like winter walks. I love them. So we walked, and he was taking me to this little theater called the Art Box Theater. And it's like a small independent theater, I think, that does lots of like productions that are centered around like issues of social justice and social awareness and all of that, which I totally is my jam, and I love that. And you have to understand, like, Matthew and I throughout the course of our relationship have gone to plays and different things like that in years past. But when we got in there, I asked if we could sit in like the back row kind of, and he said totally. And we got there 15 minutes before the play started. And I went and used the restroom, and then I came back and I realized like I haven't really been to a play with him since I was in the hospital, kind of. And I sat down, and I definitely noticed I was anxious. And I definitely could feel it was no longer at a 2. It was like a 5 or 6 now. And so I started trying to use skills. And I did. I was doing like, just trying to drop into my body and feel my feet and all of that. And I started trying to use some paced breathing. But it was kind of like it just kept going up. And I got a little teary. And, like it was dark. So that was okay that I could cry. But it was before the play, and it just occurred to me, I was like, I don't think I can do this right now, tonight. And so I turned to Matthew and I said, I don't think I can do this right now. And he said, that's okay, let's go. And so we did. And I'm also proud of myself because I had an urge to push through. I like had this self voice that was like, you know what? You just need to be like normal people can go to plays and have dinner and a play. You just need to suck it up and not ruin this night and push through. And then I was like, no. Like, first off, normal's a total BS lie. And like, I'm not doing that to myself. I'm just not. That's not good for my mental health. So I told Matthew, and he's like, yeah, let's go. And then we left the theater. I was crying, like quietly, not like sobbing audibly. But when we got outside, then I was sobbing audibly as we walked. And I was like, my brain started like catastrophizing. And then I was like, nope, not doing that, not ruminating. And so then I just told Matthew, I said, okay, I'm just going to use some skills for a second. Let's just keep walking and give me a few minutes. And he said, okay. So then I started doing some distress tolerance skills. I did the ones where you notice like 5 things that you can see, and in that whole, the sensory one, and that really helped. And that probably got me back to like a 7. And then I was like, okay, now I need to use other skills. And I was kind of recognizing the fact that like my favorite skill after doing the distress tolerance stuff is to distract. But I wouldn't be able to distract for a while until we got home. So I just had to kind of do coping skills until I got home. So I did paced breathing. And then I just kind of started doing self-talk in my mind. Like, okay, you know what? This is not a big deal. You are not going to catastrophize this. This does not mean you can never go out to dinner and a play in one night. Like, you totally can. It just didn't happen tonight. So all of that, got home. It was fine. Totally was skillful. I'm proud of myself for how I responded. And then came the thing where the N for navel gazing, where I want to understand everything. Where I want to understand why all of that happened so that I can prevent it from happening again. And I think this is maybe for me part of like radically accepting that I have a mental illness, because I think if I can understand why all of these things happen, then I cannot do whatever, all those things, and then it never has to happen again. And like, that's just not realistic. That's pretty like not realistic. So let's just leave it there. So, I was trying to troubleshoot it. Like, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. And then I think I just realized, like, oh my God.
He hasn't interrupted a podcast episode in, like, several episodes. So it was time.
Are you comfortable? Is this working for you? He's like, yep.
Yep.
So anyway, I think then I realized, like, I am going to let go of trying to understand this, because sometimes I'm just going to experience anxiety because I have anxiety disorder. And there won't be a reason necessarily, or it might be a mishmash of things that it's pointless for me to try and put together, because trying to avoid duplicating them is pointless because it's this vague mishmash of things. And maybe instead I just need to radically accept that this happened, and then not try and break it all down, and just be grateful that I did the best thing, which is I used skills. And by the time I got home and later that evening, I was 100% okay again. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Contribute to the brought to you by the N for navel gazing and wanting to understand.
I think that this episode is also brought to you by the number 3, because 3 things. One, like, I'm still super proud of you for being, like, super, super skillful and, like, working through the skills enough that you were able to, like, verbalize, one, to Matthew, and then to me on the way home, saying, I can't do this. I need you to take over this tonight, please.
Yeah, because we were going to do it was Friday, and we were going to do our Friday Night Live, and I was like, part of me had the urge, like, you just need to go home and suck it up and do the live, and then I'm like, no, you're not going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that you were able to, like, verbalize that and be like, no, like, I just can't do this, and it's not healthy for me to suck it up and go through it, and then, like, you didn't, like, I think is awesome and amazing, and, like, 10 points to you for self-care, like,
thank you.
And healthy habits, like, that's awesome. Number 2, where was I going? This is why I write things down. Number 2, I think also to, like, the whole, I think one helpful thing for at least me when it comes down to navel gazing and it comes down to being mentally ill and not getting stuck in this, if I can figure out, like, every single aspect, it'll never happen again, is by surrounding myself with community of other people who not necessarily have, like, the same laundry list of mental illnesses or whatnot, but, like, have similar experiences, because, like, one, I feel like it helps me feel not so alone and not so weird, I guess, when those
freakish. Like...
yeah, exactly. It helps me not feel like there's something wrong with me per se. When those symptoms pop up, and it also, like, by also surrounding myself with community of people who have had similar experiences, it's also, they're also the people that I can go to for comfort when those situations arise, and they know, they have a general idea of, like, what's helpful in that moment and what isn't, which is also, like, a huge stress relief for me, because then I don't have to try and comfort someone while trying to receive comfort that I need. And yeah, that was only 2 things, but I can't remember what my 3rd thing was. So yeah.
So yeah, I would just encourage you folks, like, you don't have to understand everything, and maybe, like, challenge yourself to start being mindful of times when you might be trying to understand to try and change or fix something that you can't.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not a therapist.
Neither am I. I'm going to school to become an elementary school teacher. Not a therapist. I pay my therapist. Should do the same.
You should. Therapists are awesome.
They are. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else for the mental health moment we should talk about?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, Wednesdays and Fridays, we have lives on Instagram. On Wednesdays, we talk about sometimes the top 5 what's hot right now patterns, and sometimes we don't talk about them because they are either A, not size inclusive, or B, are still utilizing and promoting problematic yarn companies.
I saw a doozy come up in my Instagram feed today. Somebody who was like, I don't know how I was following them. It just must have been whatever. And they were like, here's my new Soldatna, knit entirely in Madeline Tosh yarn. I love it. And I was like, unfollow.
That is just a train wreck.
I know. I'm like, I'm just not even going to say anything.
Like, at that point, like, is there really anything worth saying?
No, there isn't. Yeah.
The answer is no. Save your spoons, folks. Then on Friday, we normally go over acquisitions. If Farrah and I have acquisitions, or we just hang out and ramble and chat with whoever shows up. So also join us there, please.
Also, all of the Peacock stitch markers and Progress Keepers were sent except for two people I needed to get mailing addresses from, and got them, and so those will be going out within the next day or two. But I was pretty proud of myself for getting that done.
I'm proud of you for that. That's awesome. Yay! So yeah, and then Saturday nights we have our stitch group, and everyone's welcome.
It was a really great group this week. You should totally join us.
Yeah, it's super fun, and if you're worried about it being like super stressful, we're a really like low-key group. You can come and go as you please, which we have a lot of people do.
Like,
because
I left early, okay? I'm one of the hosts of it.
And like a lot of us, or several of us, have kids too, so we'll be in and out because, you know, you can't just like abandon them to like the wilderness, even though sometimes it's tempting. And it's a joke, people, I promise. I'm just really tired. I love my children. And I wouldn't really abandon them to the wilderness. I'm a pretty decent parent. But yes, okay. But it's pretty low key. You're welcome to come and go as you want. And also too, we have people who are not up to like actually like chatting or whatnot and just want to be there, and they'll turn like their cameras off and just hang out, and that's totally cool too. So whatever level of comfort or just communication that you feel up to, like, you're welcome to join us and just be. That's cool too.
And you're welcome to like turn your camera on, but turn your microphone off so that like you don't have to talk. If you just want to sit with people and listen to people and do your jam, we welcome that.
Yeah. And also too, like, any type of crafting is welcome. Like, we have, not everyone knits and crochets or spins during group. We've had people sew, like Farrah and a couple other people. We've had people watercolor paint. Like, if you just want to hang out, like, you're welcome to join us. Like, like I said, it's really low key. So, yeah, I think that's it.
I think so too.
Cool.
So if you liked the video, you should like or subscribe and follow us on all the things.
Yes.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can become a patron. The link is in our link tree and in the show description box down here. And you can become a patron for any amount in the range of $1 to $1 million a month.
Yeah.
If you want to become a patron at $1 million a month, the production quality of this podcast is going to go way up.
So quickly.
So dramatically quick. And
even a one-time month donation of $1 million.
Yeah. But we're not too hung up on the production quality, as you can probably tell.
Yeah.
I like the low-keyness.
Do you know what I realized?
Hey, stop. You're going to get kicked off my lap. What?
My CIA agent didn't say hi today.
Bob, where are you?
Bob, we miss you. Come back.
Totally dropping the ball, Bob.
No. You had one job, Bob. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so I guess that's it. We will see you all later. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, all. Say bye, Hamilton. Bye. Okay. He's like, I hate you.
Like, why are you holding my paw?